Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 116. We're a pop culture podcast that talks about pop culture things. And sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John, and I am joined as always by Andrea. How's it going?
Good, good. I'm sorry, I gave a little chuckle there because I was very impressed with the way that you said popcast, podcast, pop culture, all very close
It's
together. You didn't stumble. What a tongue twister. Good job.
it's I haven't had anything to drink yet, so the tongue is snappy, but it is
Right.
some
Tight,
redundancy that I should probably
tight.
eliminate. Yeah.
No, I've
um,
never noticed it just until right now, and I was like, oh man, I'm anticipating. I'm on the edge here. No, he made it. It's
yeah. Maybe
okay.
I should just add a few more in there and I'm really
Right.
nail it down. It'll be a thing each week to see if see
Yeah.
how bad I stumble. So
Well, flying colors this week. Good job.
perfect. Well, yes, we're here. We're going to talk about pop culture things. We've got some news, not a lot, but some Disney earnings report stuff. Real exciting there. We won't get into the numbers deeply or anything like that. Just
No.
maybe what it means for us, yeah, for viewers and such. We'll have some Manwha, some Webtoons reviews. New series is starting up now for us this week, so
Mhm.
we'll have a couple of those. And then later in the episode, we're going to have Westworld season 4. We're continuing our way through that. We have episodes 5 and 6 of
Mhm.
season 4. So yeah, when we get to that part, we're going to be all spoilery. So hopefully, you've all been following along, watching Westworld, giving
Mhm.
those views, letting Zaslav know we want Westworld to stick around. So
Yes, yes. Save the shows.
yeah, but before that, we'll have our weeks and drink holidays, right?
Woohoo! Favorite part of the show, kicking it off in on August 9th. It was World Kaiju Day. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Okay, cool.
Say
Go
so, yeah.
me. All right. Celebrating, yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay.
I
All right, I
remember
am
this
also
coming
nay.
around last year now, and I should make a point to try to find some. I
I
mean, I have a
did.
whole
I
year to do it
remembered
now, but
I remember to add it to the show notes a little bit earlier this week because last week I think I was a little like remiss in adding what was coming
mm,
up to like let you know. But I was also like, ah, there are like 12 holidays. I'm sure John's gonna find something. But yeah, this week I was like, no, no, no. These are like unique. There's only two. I gotta get it in there, especially if John wants to celebrate. So,
yeah, yeah.
but
So I am not. Are you?
I am not, no. Uh, but we've got another shot here. August 13th, just a couple of days ago, it was World Prosecco Day. Any chance you were
Prosecco.
any chance you were celebrating that?
Nope. It sounds good though.
I love
Sounds
it.
good.
No.
Yeah. Yep. You got the bubblies?
I do. I do have a little bit bubbly. Cheers.
Nice. Yeah. Cheers. Um, no, I have a beer this evening. It's been a minute.
I love it. We've got some very like international holidays going on. Baijiu and Prosecco, and John's like, beer.
Yeah.
Give me a
Yeah.
beer.
I've had some cocktails last few weeks or whatever, and so beer this week. Um,
Sounded
not a
good, sounded
lot.
refreshing.
Yeah, well, I don't have a ton of beer right now to choose from. I haven't gone beer shopping in a while, but this one fits thematically for
Mm.
Westworld.
All
So
right, what you
this
got?
is, yeah, this is a glitch in the Matrix IPA.
Ooh,
So
nice.
perhaps you recall those, yes. Um,
Yes.
Definitely was getting some Matrix vibes at points
Mhm.
in Westworld.
For sure.
Watching them this week, so
For
we'll kind of get
sure.
into that later. But
Yeah, yeah. Westworld seemed to pull from kind of a variety of inspirations this week,
hmm
and I'm not mad about it. I feel like there were
sure,
2 solid episodes.
hmm hmm I didn't really notice. I hadn't really looked at it too closely before, but they have the Matrix sort of code falling down on the can here and such, the ones and zeros, but they've intermixed hops, little hop icons
Ah,
into the
nice.
codes. It probably won't focus and you won't be able to see it. Oh, it did
Oh, no,
focus.
no,
Okay.
there we go.
And
Yes.
even
Ah,
Neo's face is like a hop. There's a
yes.
texture to it. So,
Dig
yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Dig it. That's pretty great.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. So
Well, how is
anyways,
it? Have you had this before, or is this a new
I
try for
have
you?
but I have, but it's been a while. So
Okay.
yeah, it's still good. It's by Bent Brew Stillery, it says.
Oh,
Bent
yeah.
Brew Stillery.
I like that
So
place.
hazy IPA.
Mhm.
So, anyways, all right. Drinks better than your water last week, Andrea.
I know. Oh, man. I think we've all had that one week where we're just like, I don't know, it's water or.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It's all right. Happens. I watched some shows recently, some YouTubers and such that are stream multiple times a week, and they're always drinking. Like, man, I can't keep up. Ours
I
is,
mean,
our
we did have a time where we were 2 a week, so
I
we were
know.
doing the
Hmm.
multiples. I mean, not like crazy, but
Yeah.
we were
Yep.
getting there.
Yep. I'm healthier now. So
Fitness trainer would be so proud.
yeah. Right. Mike, where you at? Um, all right. Well, how's your week been?
Been good, been good. Still keeping up with all my outdoor sports activities. So those take up a bunch of my time.
Speaking of
Um,
health, yep.
yes, indeed. Speaking of keeping healthy, um, we took our new puppy. So we used to, when we had Ivy, take her to Wednesday volleyball to watch, and we took our new puppy to Wednesday volleyball. She was a champion. Just like laid
Nice.
down, watched us, was just like looking at the other park goers, not a peep out of her. So yeah, she's
Nice.
she's definitely a volleyball dog. So
That's good.
that was fun.
Does doesn't want to chase after the volleyball.
No, no. In fact, like a volleyball literally went right to her, and she just sort of was like, guys, what's happening? What do I do with it?" So
Nice.
yeah, she's definitely like a tennis ball chaser, but I think the
Right.
large volleyball was definitely like, okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that was pretty fun. But in terms of like more pop culture things that I've done, I've read some more of Knife of Dreams, trying to like keep on that Robert Jordan train so I can get it all the way to the end. I need to do it. I need to do it. This is the farthest I've ever gotten, so
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
keep that rolling. I started watching season 3 of Never Have I Ever that just dropped on Netflix. Um, which, if you haven't seen it, is a series from Mindy Kaling, following a high school girl and kind of her both like day to day romantic life tribulations, but also like struggles with her family after her father has recently passed away. Which I don't think I'm giving spoilers because you learn that in the first 2 minutes. So
Sure.
I
Part of the
feel like
setup.
first,
It's part of the
right,
setup.
right. So like first 2 minutes can't be like spoilers, I don't know. So, anyway, started season 3 of that. That has continued to be quality. Haven't gotten too far in the season, but I really like it so far. And then yeah, I kind of had myself a few webtoon days where I just caught up on old stuff that I'd been neglecting for a while. I
Okay.
tried a couple of new webtoons, and then of course read Solo Leveling and maybe Meant to Be, which we'll be talking about later. And then, yeah, rounded it out with Westworld. So,
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
busy week.
So
Oh, I also so sorry. I didn't mention it because it's like I didn't like consider it pop culture, but shame on me. I also watched Trolls 2 World Tour
oh
for
wow.
the first time.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
yes, yes.
How was
Apparently it was a
that?
travesty that I had not seen it. It's actually
Oh,
pretty great. It's
okay.
actually pretty great.
Okay. Eh,
So,
did you used to play with trolls
I
as a kid?
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like go crazy collecting them or anything, but I definitely had a
Yeah.
couple troll dolls. Um,
Yep.
and I think that they had, interactions with like my Barbies and my GI
Yeah,
Joes and my Ninja
right.
Turtles. Like it was just like, everybody's welcome to be in my, pretend
Right.
fantasy world. Like we can all
Yes.
just have like stuff going on. So,
Yes. My sister and I definitely had like the Barbie house with Barbie and Ken, but then
yeah,
trolls and Ninja Turtles and dinosaurs. It definitely was uh,
absolutely.
all hands on deck kind of affair. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the only things that were separate were like my Polly Pockets. Like, cause those were, like,
okay.
so freaking
So
tiny
small.
that you couldn't really, like, play with anything else. They were just so tiny. So, you just couldn't really, like, have there be any interaction. It was really hard to just, like, have a troll doll talking to this, like, 1-inch little Polly
Right.
Pocket doll, so but yeah,
I'm
other than that,
I'm
we had
just like
mixing.
put on pause right now because Alan shared in our chat this meme that I don't know what it means. I, I'm at a loss. This GIF.
I feel
Um,
like I know this.
so I'm sorry, chat.
Oh,
Troll.
Troll 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Troll 2, the movie, not
That is definitely sadly not what I watched
very
because
different.
this
Yes.
looks hilarious and awesome. No, I watched Trolls too.
Okay.
Trolls
Okay.
World Tour,
Well,
the
maybe it should have
children's
been back to back
show.
next time you watch Troll 2.
Right? Right? Just
Hmm.
yeah, totally would not have scarred, the children that I was with.
No.
Totally would have been fine.
So are you going to, because I have not started yet, but I am intending because the most anticipated show for sure, Rings of Power, I'm very excited,
Yeah.
is coming soon. And I intend to read for sure the Appendices, which is based upon before
Mhm.
the show hits. And I also would like to rewatch at least the trilogy.
Done.
Um, I mean, are you planning such an endeavor, such an event?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely I am.
Because we
I
don't have all
mean,
that long. We have like this month. I think it's early September, right? That I think Rings Power comes
right.
out, something like that.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I don't know,
September 9th,
something like
2nd,
that.
9th.
I thought it was like second, but yeah, it could be early September for sure. So
Yep.
hmm. I just really want to have it fresh in my mind what like real Tolkien is like when I go then
Right.
to watch Rings of Power,
Right,
so I
just
can
to be like,
crush it.
yeah, what's this about?"
Or be shockingly surprised. You don't know, but
Could probably I mean, you could also be a mix of both at this point,
yep,
like, who knows? There's just I mean, my expectations are all over the spectrum.
yep, yep. I mean, I'm looking forward to maybe the music. I think
Mhm.
that is something, but like it's been telling where I guess they can't, it seems legally they can't say hobbits. So their
No.
little people are Harfoots, and they're trying to distinguish like Harfoots are a
No.
type of hobbit. So
No. No,
yeah,
no,
they've been
no,
saying Harfoots
no.
everywhere. They're different than hobbits is.
Why would you
So
even why would you even do it?
don't even put them in there, right? Don't even put them
Yeah.
there.
Like, if you didn't get permission or you can't say it or whatever, like, first of all, I don't know why, like, the Tolkien family sold
I
partial rights like that. That seems really strange. But anyway, moving past that, if you can't do it, just don't do it. It's weird.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Just,
It
like, don't
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Does it make you consider, like, your own estate? Yeah, I feel like this has to make creative people that have IP property that they've developed, poured everything their lives into, and then, like, what happens to that when you're gone?
Mhm.
Because you reach a point where a couple generations on, it's a good chance whoever is in charge of that doesn't care, or at least
Right,
not like you. It's like it's a source of income now, you know. And I don't
right.
know that. I'm not saying I know the Tolkien family or anything like that. Just in general, anyways. Like you know, I don't know. What would you do? You own some sort of giant thing. You just be like, I'm just going to steal it off. No one gets the rights. How do you manage that?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it would be so situational, I think, because
Mhm.
you would have to think, who among my family might I know who seems to care about this, even a fraction as deeply as I do. If there's no one, then yeah, I think you just say like, sorry, gotta
Yep.
cut it off, and it is what it is, and I'm so sorry, but I just can't take that risk. If you do sense that a family or somebody super close who you really trust does have that same like care and sense of detail and you know creative preservation, I'll say, because, you wanna give somebody a little bit of room to breathe, but you also don't want it to just be totally warped and twisted. So if somebody has that you sense around you, I feel like you can maybe entrust them to say like, "Listen, I don't wanna take it too far, but if there's something, here's what I could see."
Yep. Yep.
But you definitely have to think
Yes.
about it, I think.
Mhm.
You definitely have to make those kind of plans because yeah, otherwise, I mean, you might be gone, but I don't know, there's just like a sense, there's just like a sense for yourself that even if you can't see it, there's that like fear.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people spend time worrying about what legacy they leave behind or whatever.
Mhm.
And, we can argue whether that's a worthy endeavor or not, but, people nonetheless do. And it's one of those things that while you're alive, you're thinking, boy, someday while you're alive, it means something to you yet, what
Mhm.
it's going to be like in the future. So
Mhm.
I certainly get that.
Yeah.
But if you just let it to no one, I suppose eventually like the trademark just expires eventually. I don't know what
Um
the year
yeah.
is on that.
I don't know the ins and outs of copyright all the time when it comes to publishing. I mean, certainly trademark and copyright has evolved over the years, so I don't know what that kind of law is like right now, but yeah, eventually um I think things like that do run out and it just becomes like common
Public
property,
domain.
public
Yeah.
domain. Yeah, thank you
Like
for
the happy
knowing
birthday
the word
song.
I was thinking of. Yeah, exactly, like somebody obviously
Mhm.
wrote that,
Yeah.
but it's not theirs anymore.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yeah. Well, things to think about.
yes.
I also learned, what speaking of I know this isn't really like my week, but it's like stuff I thought about, I guess. The
Sure.
I learned something today from the YouTube channel Midnight's Edge. And if you're talking about consistency or creative consistency or anything like that, or creative freedom, this is I was listening to this person before and he was saying John Constantine.
Nope.
And I thought, yeah, apparently it is John Constantine.
Nope.
In the comic books, it's John Constantine. He
Nope.
specifies that it is. And when they
Nope.
went to make the Keanu Reeves adaptation, it was obviously wildly different. It went John Constantine. They changed the pronunciation. And then they
Yeah.
kind of stuck with that going forward in,
Good.
other iterations. Because it sounds right, because it's Constantine. I mean, to my
Yeah.
understanding, that's how you say the name. But
Yes.
in the comics, it is John Constantine. So
Okay. That, I'm not gonna lie, is some weird like detail by the author. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's like trying to it reminds me of if you've ever seen Young Frankenstein. It's like the protagonist trying to be like, "It's not Frankenstein, it's Frankenstein," and you're like, "Give it up."
Yeah.
Like, we
I
all know. That's immediately what I thought of Constantine. I was like, "Don't play. It's Constantine."
but maybe it's like, Berenstein Bears, Bernstein
Which
Bears
is
even.
which is Berenstain Bears, not Berenstain Bears or Stein Bears, whatever they
But
want.
I think that's not right, right? We're just
I know,
remembering
but
it that way.
we just all grew up calling it the Berenstain Bears.
Yes.
So
Right.
now when you talk about it, you call it that, even though we all,
Right.
like, have understood as adults that, like, that's wrong,
Mhm.
but it's
I
too
just
late.
thought, I mean,
It's too
you
late.
always specified it's Sean Ben.
I know.
So,
I know.
you know,
I know.
I've fought people over that. I was like, I don't know. I have friends swear it's Sean Ben. So
It is Sean Ben. I mean, at least that's the way he says it. So,
he's just punking us all.
he could be. That'd be hilarious. You got me. You
Yep.
got me, Sean.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, no, it's really hard when you get, like, stuck on pronunciations like that. Like,
Hmm.
when I started the Dresden audiobooks and, the
Oh
main
yeah.
criminal, the guy pronounced his last name, it was J so I heard it when I read the books, I heard it in my head as John Marcone, and the guy reading the audiobooks kept saying John Marconi. It's like, "Quit
Hmm.
it, quit it." He stopped it after, like, 3 of them, and he started saying Marcone, so I don't know if, like, Butcher
Interesting.
corrected him or, like, fans were like, "You gotta stop it, it's really annoying." I don't know what
Right.
happened there, but I was super excited because I was like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah.
Every time I would hear it, I was just like, "Ugh."
Yeah. Well, this guy saying Constantine was grating on my nerves. And then he
Yeah,
said that's how it is. So it's like, well, I can't, I guess I have to let it go now. And yeah.
you know,
Same
or you
as people
don't.
that say Mario
Oh,
Brothers.
yeah. Yeah,
The name
that's
Mario is a real name, and people say
right,
Mario. It's not Mario.
Mario. Yeah, no,
Nowhere is it Mario.
no. That's just flat out wrong.
Just
There's not
flat out
even a
wrong. That's
case
exactly.
That's not even a case there. You can't make
No,
one.
no. Well, I'll make the case for watching
Mhm.
the Netflix kind of documentary, The Raincoat Killer.
I
I did watch
saw
that
that
this
was on
week.
your list. How was that? I'm interested.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's not too long. It's only 3 episodes, and it was about a serial murder in Korea that I had never heard of in sort
Okay.
of the early 2000s, I believe it was, or mid 2000s. So, um, yeah, it's never heard of it. It's well done. Definitely watch it in Korean. We were watching it, and it just defaults to English dub,
Okay.
and we wanted to relax and watch it. So Ash is like, "Oh, let's just do it this way." Didn't last long. We're like, we can't have these act pretending to be serious,
Mm,
real people,
yeah, sure.
Um, so yeah,
God, that has
but
to be a hard voice acting job.
I know to like, I would rather it just be deadpan almost, just like
Yeah,
matter of
like,
factly.
right.
Yeah,
Don't get emotional, just like, "Here's what I'm
right.
saying.
We'll
This is
read
what
that on their
happened."
face. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, no, it's so definitely worth a watch. Watch it one day. It
Okay.
was good. Um, see some manga continued Zom 100 and um my stepmother's daughter is my ex episode 2. That was good. Yeah. So yeah, good
Good job
stuff.
with that title. It's still
Yeah.
good
Well,
to me, I
it's
like it.
all English anyways. It's all English this time. So and then my parents wanted to watch The Lost City. So you watched this, right? Or did you? I know
Did.
Tony watched this, and yeah, okay.
Yep.
So yeah, we didn't go to see. We went to their place to see that, and it was fun. It was
Mhm.
fun. Channing Tatum's character is a little too special. This
Yeah.
at least to start, and I see a lot of the influences when it's done. I'm like, well, this is no what's that film? Romancing the Stone. It's no
Yeah.
Romancing the Stone, but it was fun. It was fun.
Alright, bright spots, though. What were they?
Um, Brad Pitt.
Yes!
Uh, I
Cameo
mean, I
was,
knew
like,
he was in there,
everything.
but I
It's
like it.
everything. It's so
Mhm.
funny.
I I've always enjoyed Sandra Bullock.
Mhm.
I always like her. Um, Daniel Radcliffe. It's just he's just energetic and everything, so
I
he's very
found him
watchable.
Yes, I found him a very entertaining villain. Not necessarily, like, super believable, but,
Right.
like, the way he played his character was well within the bounds of the movie and very
Yeah.
watchable. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, just it was fun to see him on screen, not necessarily like, "Ooh, we're in danger now," but just
Yep.
this is fun.
It was of the right amount of like potentially cheesy romance situations with actual things happening.
Mhm.
So that was good. Um, yeah, overall it was entertaining. I'd say it was worth a watch. Makes me want to watch Romancing the Stone afterwards,
Yep.
or even the Uncharted movie. Kind of, made me think, oh, there's been some stuff like that. So
Get back in that, like,
there,
adventure, treasure hunt, little
ye-
romance going on. Yeah.
yeah. The complaints I have, the other ones are like kind of spoilery, so I guess I won't say
Okay.
them. It's yeah, just some stuff that you know quibbles that
Yeah.
yeah, I won't spoil for anyone. So, anyways, that's about been my week in
Good week.
entertainment. So plus the stuff for the show, obviously,
Of course.
and yeah. So we're talking about we've been talking about Lord of the Rings, creative consistency, creative freedom,
Mhm.
and Lord knows taking some creative freedoms with the Marvel universe, and we're well into that project, into the MCU. We have a
Of course.
new little snippet here. I wish I had more information on it, but this is courtesy of GameSpot.
Mhm.
Interestingly enough, cover movie stuff too. Marvel video effects artists speak out on being overworked.
Yep.
Quote, we've literally made up entire third acts of the film a month before release because the director didn't know what they wanted. Even Marvel's parent Disney is much easier to work with on their live action films. Again, there's been this facade of planning and preparedness and all this in the Marvel MCU, and been hearing more and more from effects artists as they keep like stretching them and going to
Mhm.
other places to find them and stuff. So yeah, this is just one little more snippet that seems pretty damning if true.
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe it. After, a couple of weeks ago, I read a little snippet of an article and didn't think terribly much about it because I just figured it was so situational. But it was again about the effects team that's working on, or that has been working on, She-Hulk, and
Hmm.
how they had to put in just insane amounts of hours. They were asked to do so much overtime because, of course, a lot of that is going to be CGI because your main character is transformed into She-Hulk nearly all of the time. Which is the point. Like, that's, how the original was done, but it obviously means hours and hours and hours of extra work to do all of that because you have
Hmm.
nothing to fall back on for her. So yeah, so I was just reading that article, and you know, the director, the star, were both Tatiana Mosley were just kind of talking about the fact that, they got a lot of flack for the visual effects that people were kind of, wishy-washy about. Like, sometimes they were good, sometimes they were bad, and they were both just like, listen, these people worked almost unreal, inhumane types of hours. And this is like they were giving it their all, and this was the best that they could get in such a short amount of time with what they were being asked to do. And I was like, yeah, on the one hand, I was kind of inclined then to give the effects a little bit of a break then, just knowing, like, I mean, this team was just clearly to do too much. And on the other hand, it just made me mad. Like, well, then why? Like, why don't we slow
Hmm.
this down? Why don't we give it the time? If these people are being, overworked in this kind of scary capacity, what is the point of this? And we're still getting like a good but not great product. What is the point?
Hmm.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm like I said, I'm very inclined to believe that this is the case, like, across the board, and people who are not in charge, like a director not deciding, like, what ending of a movie they want. People who are on certain teams are being asked to do things way beyond what they've signed up for.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yeah, it supports my idea of, you know, just trying to throw pretty things on the screen and expect people are just gonna that's gonna be enough. And then realize coming to realize those pretty things are really taxing and tough to do,
mhm,
convincingly, because it. This reminds me, and I wonder if it was from the same thing that you read. That was someone was saying on the project that if they had realized how difficult this was, they might have not had so many CG effects in the show.
mhm.
Like maybe
Yeah,
had She-Hulk transformed not so much of the time,
right.
uh,
Which
which I mean, the studios worked on the Hulk. You didn't figure this out. You think
right,
you just can come
and,
up with
like
anything and
well, and, like, the point of She-Hulk is that she's transformed all the time. So it's like, do you know what I mean?
right,
Like, on the
yeah,
one hand, sure,
right,
but on the other hand, this is a surprise, or it should be a surprise to nobody, because the original
right,
cartoon was like, the point was she's transformed all the time. She doesn't get to go back and forth like Bruce does. So if you were gonna make the She-Hulk, you had to be ready. You
right.
had to build out the time, put in the hours.
Yep, yep.
Ah, that's
I
frustrating.
I went from She-Hulk launches this Thursday, I believe,
It
and
does.
I
I
don't have
obviously
Disney
will be
Plus,
watching.
so let me know how it is.
I
Um,
obviously will. I am sure I will have many opinions.
I went from like more. This was the one I was more optimistic about
Mhm,
to slowly less and less as I've learned about the just through their previews and stuff, the change in origin for She-Hulk unnecessarily, just because um, they decided to go a different way, and
mhm,
then inconsistencies with the Hulk himself. I don't want to give away things from the comics, and people haven't even watched the show yet. Just if you're familiar with some of the comics and then you've seen the trailers, you'll see some of the differences there.
mhm,
And then there is a thing, and it's on its face. The comment made now was because saw the trailer, see that Daredevil is at least featured in it for some amount of time.
mhm.
The comment was that they're showing a lighter side of Daredevil. Now, that's okay, but
Yeah,
what does that mean exactly? It just like
yeah,
gives me pause because the Daredevil we're familiar with is known for the grittiness and
right,
that kind of thing. So
right,
now this is a different type of show, so I
right.
understand, but it just makes me, although already more worried the way it is. So
Totally, totally. Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. Like, we can give characters leave to, be funny at times, or, if they're showing a lighter side of Daredevil, you know, it's in a lighter hearted show, obviously. He's gotta fit the tone. He can't just like run in and just, kill
yep,
someone the first time we see him. Like, that's obviously not this show. But yeah, but I don't need like a Daredevil that would belong in, Thor Ragnarok or Thor Love and
right.
Thunder. Like, that's not the Daredevil I need either. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, I totally get the worry, because
Hmm.
you can show different sides of a character, but you can't change the core of a character.
Yep. Because we've there are many Daredevil comic that is much more lighthearted, different runs that are way more fun superhero-y. The Daredevil we're familiar with is sort of a midlife reinvention of the character done in a different tone, probably I don't know, starting with probably Frank Miller's run or whatever. And that's more the type of Daredevil that the Charlie Cox Daredevil is. So if you change that too much, not saying that can't be consistent with some form of Daredevil or even more a more original Daredevil, but it's not the Daredevil that we're
Right.
used to on screen and this iteration. So
Right. Yeah. You're still getting Charlie Cox as Daredevil. You haven't rebooted him.
right,
So don't change him terribly.
right. Well, I'm gonna leave it to you to tell me. I wanna see I wanna see the Daredevil scenes, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it
All
to you
right.
to tell me.
All right.
Um, Sticking on the Disney train here. I
Mhm.
was a train. I was stuck on the Disney train. Maybe there's a, rocket ship, airplane, choose a different vehicle once in a while that we're sticking to, but train this week, I guess, yet.
Sure.
They had their earnings report, had conference call, talked to, investors and stuff about how things are going. Uh, Financially sounds pretty good. Most like overall solid. I learned some things, learned that there's a lot of emphasis on the theme parks. Like
Mhm.
theme parks is a huge thing that they're, you know, like that's what needs to succeed for them. We're always used to on a
Yeah.
daily basis the movies and stuff, but the theme parks, that's still a destination for a lot of families. Um, and then
Oh, it
in
sounds like they're
ads,
crushing it.
you know, yeah,
I mean,
yep,
from what I gleaned from the earnings report, it sounds like the theme parks are actually, haha, knocking it out of the park,
yeah,
in terms of revenue.
yep. There's getting to be, to my understanding, some frustrations with the amount of people and the way they do their system and how you have to like plan everything ahead and book everything in advance and do all this kind of rigmarole.
Sure.
And there's some dissatisfaction with the Star Wars world, but the park numbers in general, seeing a big influx, especially with everything, worldwide more open,
Mhm.
this quarter is going to show better for them
Yeah.
than previous recent ones for sure. So,
Yeah.
um, that's to be expected. Disney Plus, the service is still losing money. That's not unexpected, I would say. Um, and they announced, as Warner Brothers did the other week, Discovery and stuff, a more tiered system to give people more options for their subscription fees.
That is just a BS way of saying we wanna charge people more money.
What?
Giving
It's
people more
$8 with
giving
ads now.
giving people more options is just code for we would like to charge people more money and present it to you as freedom.
Well, you can only have to pay $11 a month to not have ads, Andrea.
I know, more money. I can do math. I can do that
Well,
much math. 8 versus
but
11, that is more money.
at least the content of their quality has never been better. And then they're going to feature some more bundles. So they're going to work on doing more
Yeah,
bundle things. Because like right now, it's obviously the Hulu, ESPN, Disney bundle, and trying to
right,
do more of those things. So,
right. We'll
mhm.
see. We'll see if we end up shifting. I've long been anxious to get rid of Hulu, so
Mm.
it's only because it's part of our bundle that it still exists within our home.
Yeah, you were just talking about that pre-show because I was saying, I don't have Hulu anymore, but been wanting to watch the new Predator movie,
Right?
and I don't know if
Well,
I.
come on over while we still got it.
Yeah, right. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to watch it with ads because so you have Hulu part of the bundle.
Mhm.
When do you see ads?
In TV shows,
So,
not
but not
generally in
live,
movies.
not
No.
live TV shows, right?
Mm-mm.
Just on demand TV
Recorded. So
shows.
then
Okay.
they'll pop up at, whatever intervals that they have. I think they kind of do it based on like some sort of watch viewer scale as to how many ads and how long you have them.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, they pop up in TV shows. I've watched several movies and I honestly cannot remember ads popping up during them.
Okay.
So,
I hate paying for a service and then still having ads. So I
I
will
do
never be
too.
one to get ad light anything. I
Right.
understood it when I had Hulu Live TV that it was live TV and there were
Right.
ads on TV. So that was there.
Right.
But
No, that's part of my frustration with Hulu. And I mean, again, like if it wasn't part of our bundle, wouldn't pay for it. But we
right.
do use Disney Plus and ESPN Plus a lot. So it's
Hmm.
just sort of like, well, it makes financial sense to just like have that then. But yeah,
Yep.
if I had the choice on my own, mm-mm,
Yeah. I mean, there's enough cartoons on HBO Max, right?
right? I got
All the
this.
good ones. Yeah.
For now.
Mm,
HBO
yeah.
Max is going through its own, like, shuffling, axing, whatever.
Yeah, right. Well, at least I mean, in terms of classic content, there's a lot
Right,
available there. You know, from
right,
the Warner Brothers side of things and the X Men and all that sort of stuff. Batman.
right.
Um, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what to think. You know, I understand.
I hate it.
With
It's
the
basically like pay for cable in a different way.
yeah, right.
I mean,
Hmm.
really. It's
Yep.
just buy a whole bunch of different mini cable boxes. Like, that's how
Hmm.
I feel about it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we're you can join us. We've streamlined. I We just, we still have plenty of services, but it was spread across different kinds of media now. So
Yeah,
like gaming and music and some of that. Um, our focus, I guess, is on anime, and then I pay for YouTube.
sure.
But I don't know. So
Yeah, I feel like at some point there'll be a plateau or something where we'll just hit a point that we're just like, okay, we got to reconfigure this because it is tough paying for all of these and still feeling like, yeah, I'm getting interrupted by ads.
yep, yeah. I mean, if it's handled right, I think this to me the Warner Brothers Discovery thing really will be the service to beat.
Hmm.
I understand they're trying to do the, Disney, Hulu, ESPN bundle, and that's a pretty good package there as an offering. But if you can have one app and everything from Discovery and Warner Library and HBO,
Hmm.
it's compelling. It's
Yeah,
compelling. So,
yeah. We'll see. I mean, obviously these guys have moved to ad tiers. We'll see if Netflix ever follows through on that as well.
yeah, they're supposed to, right? Yeah.
They're supposed
Hmm.
to. I haven't really heard any like hardline dates about anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I don't believe
Hmm.
it's coming, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're slow playing it to see how like HBO, Discovery, and Disney Plus play out, not a bad strategy.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of Netflix,
Hmm.
I'd mentioned the other week that the one show that I'm really excited for is Chainsaw Man. The
Yeah.
other I
Mhm.
forgot about coming to Netflix is the Cyberpunk anime, Cyberpunk
Like,
2077.
oh,
Yeah,
right.
the actual
Right.
yeah,
We talked
by the
about that
Kill
a
la
long
Kill
time
and Gurren
ago.
Lagann people. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I forgot
so
about that too. I've
I think that's
seen
next
nothing
month.
for that. I've seen
Mhm.
nothing for that. That is crazy. I think
On
that's why I forgot about it.
Yeah, on YouTube, they've had a couple little feature things talking about and
Okay.
stuff. I kind of don't want to see them anymore. Yeah, I'm just
Sure.
ready to see it when it comes out. So,
Sure. Yeah, you're over
yeah,
trailered now.
yeah, yep. Um, well, if you're searching for a new film to see, Searchlight Pictures is offering up a dish that to die for. It's just go heavy handed here, right? It's
Yes. Way to
The
lay down that lead
Menu.
in.
Yeah. The Menu, starring Ray
Mhm.
Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Holt,
Mhm.
John Leguizamo. I don't know how to say his last name.
Leguizamo.
Leguizamo.
Mhm.
Yeah. So trailers available for this now. It looks like I don't know. A couple goes to this exclusive place to have a fancy tasting culinary experience, and I don't know. Maybe they're the ones on the main course. I don't know.
Right? Right? Yeah, no, I watched this trailer just kind of not knowing what to expect, and it was zanier than I even could have imagined at the beginning when it was just like, "This is bonkers, like, I don't know what's happening and, like, what the point of this is." Um, I love it. There's, like, a weird mania to it. Ray Fiennes is just whatever he's doing is insanely
Yeah.
compelling and awesome. Um, so yeah, it's very like there's like a whole setup about this, being planned. Like the people who are there at this tasting location were very carefully chosen, except for maybe one person who's like accidentally got thrown in there. Um, yeah, it's crazy. It's nutty.
Hmm.
I didn't even believe it was a real movie at first. I just sort of thought it was like a trailer that you would make to put in a movie about making a movie. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're
Right. Yeah.
you're like making like a Hollywood film and you're just like, "Oh, here's like a trailer for before the movie." It's like that's what this feels like. I don't even know what to think. So, yeah.
Like it's gonna be a fake trailer. It's
Yes,
starts
exactly.
playing as a trailer, and then you're
Exactly. It was
like, it
so bonkers
cuts
that
to
I just
something
was
else.
like, yeah, I just thought it was like a bunch of celebrities just like, yeah, like we're all going to make a cameo in this other film by making a fake trailer for a
Yeah.
movie called The Menu. And
You're
I
in the
was like,
theater, this is going, and then all of a sudden, they're revealing something, and then a phone goes off, and it's the
right,
silence your phone's ad.
right. And you're
For
just like, what? Ha, you got me.
yeah. So, but it looks interesting, and unique, so I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, whatever Ray Fiennes is doing in this trailer, it's his energy is just fantastic.
Yep, yep. Um, some fantastic energy, I tell you, was a part of the reveal of Hogwarts Legacy, the video game. Some
Mm-hmm.
time ago, they had a big gameplay demo, and
Yep, I
I
remember
think
that.
really impressed me with the scope, anyways, of the
Mm-hmm.
project. But unfortunately, this game has now been delayed until next February. Well, this
Mm-hmm.
upcoming February.
Mm-hmm.
So February 10th is the date now. And I'm pretty bummed about it because there's not a lot I was hoping to play this fall.
Mm-hmm.
There's some fun stuff that will come out of nowhere, like Cult of the Lamb is out now. That looks fun. But in terms of like this is a big open world looking game. Harry Potter, they were doing it the right way. They're not it's not a retelling of the books or the movies. It's not set in a parallel world, like just completely separate from every other content. It's like, no, this is fits in the world, takes place many years before Harry Potter was around, and perfect. It expands and improves the lore and the world of Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm bummed.
It is. It's sad that it'll be postponed. Hopefully, it's just a we're making this better before we shoot it out
Yeah.
to you and no major problems.
Yep. Yep. Um, well, major problems can come up in new marriages. Um,
Nice.
and our two protagonists of maybe meant to be, Gia and Minchol, are having some problems, maybe. Problems in
Mhm.
paradise.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll talk about our webtoons here. Maybe meant to be episodes 10 through 12. We're continuing that one from weeks prior, and we will be getting a little spoilery about it. So if you, it's only 3 episodes. So like if you haven't read it yet, based on our talks here, you'll, I would say you'd still be able to totally enjoy it
Pick it up.
if you hear this here and yeah,
Yeah,
but
you could pick it up. But it is I mean,
y-
if you do not like anything spoiled for you, first
yeah,
of all, go read it. It's awfully cute. I love it.
hmm hmm
And second of all, yeah, don't listen.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna do my cool thing. Don't listen if you're watching.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yep. I'll just be like, X or something. Yeah. Hmm.
Right? Somebody's gonna
So
be, like, too horribly stimulated visually, like, "Oh my god, so much
yeah.
motion."
So yeah, 10 through 12, maybe meant to be. What'd you think of these?
I loved them. Just continuing right along with our, like, problems are happening that our, odd couple has to solve. We jump right into, like, the housewarming party that they're basically politely forced into having, and that, of
Yeah.
course, we knew stuff was gonna come up at, and it did and it does. I
Hmm.
mean, it was both very cute and horribly awkward
Hmm.
because they definitely did not talk about anything beforehand, made no plans to be like, here's like our story about our proposal and our, first kiss and our date. And I was like, man, who doesn't think of that?
Yeah, you gotta
Like,
have that settled, right?
right? So, I mean, I on the one hand love that my expectations were subverted in the sense of like they didn't get together and like plan all of that because that's usually how
Mhm.
it goes. They're like, "Oh my god, we're forced into a like, a work party or, a date with this couple and we have to get our story straight." So they didn't have that, and then it ended up being like a funny plot device. It worked
Yeah.
out in a very natural way.
Mhm. When it started, I was like, why is, firstly, why is Gia calling Minchell a bastard? What's this animosity already coming from
Mhm.
here? And, and then because she wanted to have the housewarming party because she knew it would bother him. I just didn't
Mhm.
know that that seemed right. I mean, guess just to kind of pick on him, but um, and then he gives the smirk. So and we never really understood why he did that exactly.
Mhm.
Like I didn't catch that anyways. If there was something, did he really want to have the housewarming party?
Yeah.
He
I
just wanted to
I took it
pretend
as
he didn't.
he's totally oblivious to the fact that Gia is having this to punish him, and he thinks, like, she's really excited about it.
Okay,
So he's
and so
just sort
he's
of like,
just
"Oh,
happy
it's
that
like."
she's yeah.
Yeah. "Oh, it's cute," and he's just so just like, whoosh, like, it's going over his head that she's like, "I'm gonna get you. I'll fix
Yep.
you." So,
I mean, are you getting the vibe right now that Minchol is definitely he's actually into this. He actually likes Gia. He has such fond memories from
yeah.
childhood. He is this he would like this to be more than an arrangement.
I actually wouldn't go that far in that sense yet. I think most of that is true. I think that he has very fond memories of them as kids. He'd like this to be more than an arranged marriage in the sense of like he truly wants his friend back. Like when he suggests
Mhm.
like, how about we play a game together? I
Right.
think he kind of wants to get that relationship back, and he likes not being alone. I think
Mhm.
he's finding that, like, them being together is actually very nice for him. It's like social interaction, but not with somebody new, so it's not forced and awkward. He can just
Right.
be himself. So I'm not
Yeah.
necessarily convinced that, like, he's sensing anything romantic, but I think he would like to develop at least their friendship, and I mean, maybe he's lying to himself about romance to this
Well,
point.
because he says, like, "Are we on a date now?" When
He
they're going
does.
into the
Oh my
movies. So,
gosh. Okay, so we have to get into this premise. So they have the housewarming
oh yeah.
party,
Mhm.
and because I
Mhm.
because I love this premise because I have to say something about it. So they
Okay.
have the housewarming party, and obviously it's like awkward because they like talk about like, oh, how did you propose? And Minchell's like,
Yeah.
I was eating some chicken, and she was like, let's get married, yo. Which is like a horrible story.
Yep.
Even if it's the
Mhm.
truth. And then, of course, he tells like the truth also about their first kiss when they were like 5, which I actually didn't think was terribly awkward. It's kind of a
No, I
cute
thought that's good. Yeah.
thing. I mean, normally you'd probably then like be like, ha ha ha, okay, but actually, like when we grew
Right.
older, you'd
Right.
follow it up with like a more normal story. But it wasn't as awkward as the chicken eating proposal.
Yes.
So
I thought the 5 year when you're young, that's a good way to get out of it. You didn't have
right?
to lie and invent
Exactly.
something. There it is. Perfect.
Right? And, like, I feel like we all sort of had maybe, that, like, early grade school, like, you didn't actually, like, kiss people, but there was, like, a kiss on
Yeah.
the "Ew, cooties,"
Yeah.
like, first kiss, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cute. And I do also have to give props to his friend, his subordinate, I can't remember his name at
Mm.
the for not going
Yep.
through with supervisors, like, make them kiss request. I was like, "Oh, that'd be so far to betray your
Mhm.
friend like that." It just feels
Sure.
awkward. So I was like,
Mhm.
"Good on you, man. Like, we didn't
He
need that."
played it off well by, like, reading it, and then we're moving on, or whatever. So,
Nah.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, so we get through the housewarming party. It happens. And
Mhm.
then bam, next day, Gia's mom calls and she's like, "Ha ha ha, we're at the movies and we're gonna go see Spaghetti Man," which is like
Yep,
stupid.
it's
I love it. It's just they didn't even try to like make up like a,
yeah,
realistic
right.
superhero. I love it. So, and Gia's like, "Oh crap, like in my family, whoever sees a movie first gets to spoil it for everybody." And I was like, "Dang, this is hardcore. You give people
Yeah,
no opportunities. You see a movie and bam, you tell them everything."
yep.
So I
That
understood her like desire to get to that theater. We got to go.
yeah. I wanna know if the author if this is a thing in their life, or they
It'd be
know someone. It's gotta be, right?
it'd be
Someone.
yeah, right? It'd be a cute detail to, like, add from your own personal like, your family
Yeah.
or a friend's family that does this, which, again, I'm telling you, hardcore.
It
Like
is. That would make people. I mean, I don't care if it's a rule. People are gonna get mad about that.
yeah, absolutely.
Here's something, and there's gonna be serious stuff in that film going down. I wouldn't be so worried. I mean, they seem pretty busted up about Spaghetti Man, but I
Right,
don't think I'd be too worried about what happens to Spaghetti Man. But there'd be
right,
something that you'd see and be like, "Oh man, that's
right. What if, like
terrible."
what if your parents somehow magically saw the new Daredevil before you and it was so good, but then they told
Yeah.
you everything that happened?
Yep.
Wouldn't you just be
Mhm.
pissed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I can.
So I totally get this, like, we gotta go to the theater, we gotta see this, I don't care what it looks like right now, and then we'll deal
Mhm.
with maybe the date when we get there.
I can see some family dynamic that happening though, where someone sees something and they off the cuff spoil something about the film. Oh my god, I didn't see that yet. And so
Mm,
as a response, I'm going to get back at them
totally.
and
It just
and then it
snowballs.
just
No,
snowballs. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so that was a very cute way, also an intense way to set up, the 2 of them going on a date to the movies because they can't let it be
Mhm.
spoiled.
Yep.
Also, Gia's special recipe for popcorn, eh,
What? Oh,
no,
yeah, I took a screen of that. It was with squid,
nope,
right?
nope, nope.
Large
Turtle
caramel
and
popcorn with baked butter squid.
nope, nope, nope.
I would try it. I would try
I no, no, you go, you brave man.
it.
I can't.
Yeah.
Caramel popcorn with buttered squid. Like it
Yeah,
just
yeah, sweet and salty,
I mean,
Sweet and salty.
yeah, I get it. It
Little
just
umami from the the
oof,
squid.
I
Yeah.
can't.
But
But
we had 2 kind of like one very sort of, okay, well, there's an anime sort of moment for you,
a
in
trope.
this manhwa. Yeah, with the falling into each other sort of thing. We cut off right
Oh,
there. We
first we had a popcorn hand
Yes.
brush, a very
Oh,
like
whoa, whoa,
hand
whoa, yeah.
ah.
Oh,
Yes, and then
man.
we had the
Yep,
falling.
yep, mhm, yep,
The brush and somebody's falling. Oh no.
yeah, yep. I when I saw that, like, bump, I thought it was gonna go somewhere like Minchell all of a sudden, like, "Hey, apologize," or "Watch where you're going," or something, was gonna do that kind of thing. But
Mm,
no, somehow I don't know how the alignment of this happened
right, the
exactly,
mechanics
but
worked. Yeah,
yeah.
totally. No, so I knew right from that moment that they were gonna, like, fall into each other and he was gonna catch
Okay.
her, but I
Okay.
definitely did not see the bigger surprise coming,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they fell onto each other's lips.
Yep. First kiss, there it is.
Yes,
Man.
yes. I love it because I mean, the couple of episodes were all about, like, first kisses, and they talked about it
Yeah.
so much, so much.
"Don't you dare kiss me," during the wedding,
Right.
yeah. Mhm.
And then, well, bam, like, I still didn't see it coming at the end. It was great,
Mhm.
though. It was so perfectly fitting and hilarious, and I didn't see it coming. I should've, but I totally didn't, so it was excellent.
Mhm. Yep. But I'd argue the bigger surprise
Mm,
is the coworkers.
yes.
So, I
I
don't,
knew it.
recall their names right now. You knew it? You knew
I
it?
I knew it the whole time. I said it, like, the very first episode when they were, like, going back and forth, and then they were spying on them, and he, like,
Mhm.
pulled her against the wall to hide, and I was like,
Sure.
"Yes, there's something there, it's happening."
Okay. I mean, I like it. I just was like, I hope that's not too convenient, you know?
Yeah,
But we'll see if this like lasts or obviously it's gonna make things awkward for sure.
right.
Um, but yeah, I'm excited for it to and they seem way more normal. These two,
Yeah,
they're way more normal and like responsible and all this stuff. So there may be a better, a better match anyways.
yes. And they could be a very funny side action and also way for, like, Gia and Minchell to work out some things and, like, kind of trade advice or, like, figure out different situations, like,
Double
"Oh, we don't
date.
want that." Yeah. So,
Yep.
yeah, could definitely
Mm,
have some more, like, romantic interactions there.
yep. Yep.
Yeah. This webtoon, I'm just so enjoying. It's great.
Yep. All right. Well, that's maybe meant to be episodes 10 through 12. Um, hopefully you're following along with us. If not,
Mhm.
get on it. Free. Um,
Sure, sure.
Next is the new season. Are
Mhm.
you show, episode, series, whatever? Solo leveling. We talked
Yes.
about the sad passing of the artist the other week, and this is being made into an anime. But the webtoon, the manhwa, was it's very popular. You can buy it in print if you want. I actually saw this in amongst the manga section in Target the other day.
I did
So
too. I actually took a picture. I forgot to send it to you. I
oh,
was like, "Oh my
nice, yeah,
god."
yeah. So we're just starting. There's
Mhm.
technically a chapter 0 or an episode 0, which is really short or whatever. But then 1 through 3. Um, These are a little shorter than maybe meant to be per
Mhm.
episode, it seems. But what'd you think so far?
I think it's good. It's just these few episodes. I read episode 0, plus, 1, 2, 3. They're very much set up premisey type episodes. So things are
Yep.
happening, but we're not getting a lot of movement right now. They're
Yep.
also pretty short, like you said. So they're they're just blips. They're not quite as short as like the cliff, but they're
Right.
not particularly long either. So yeah, so a lot of it right now is just like learning about our protagonist, learning how bad he is at being a hunter. Um,
Hmm.
Even though he still somehow gets invited to go on raids, which is great because he needs the money to pay for his mom's medical bills, his sister's education. So, we're getting a lot of like, here's the backstory, here's also the problem and the reason why
Yep.
we need to do this. Um, the only kind of question I have, is I'm not quite sure, is this like a game world or is this a real world?
I got the impression it was the real world. It's the
Okay,
way
alright.
the world works. Yeah.
I thought so too. It just sort of was like there was no backstory on, like, why they're monster hunting in a real
Yeah.
world,
Right.
which
Hmm.
which is generally considered unusual, so usually you get like you know, 20 years ago, an accident happened and blah, 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 or like,
Right.
a nuclear explosion set off some sort of chain reaction, or like we found out there was magic still in the world.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was the only part I was a little like, I think this is the real world, like 99% positive, but just in case. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. At this point, I see it like it's the real world. It's just a completely different real world than ours.
Sure.
So in this existence, there are for whatever reason, this is the way it is. But be interesting to explore later on. I guess my critique with this, episode 0 obviously is trying to get you to like, hey, the exciting stuff is going to happen here. And then it goes to episode 1 and like, okay, we have a very, like you said, our weakest hunter, low rank E or whatever. Um, I'd say my complaint is there's nothing new about this so far. The
Mm,
idea that you go into like dungeons or a large tower or something like that to hunt for monsters, to earn money, rewards, and rank up, whether that's an isekai, it's in a fake world, or it's in the real world, that's completely done a lot. the idea that you have someone with medical expenses, that's your motivation for doing it, very typical, all this sort of thing. I will say that it looks good.
Mhm.
Um,
The
I like
dungeon looks
the
great.
yeah, there's some really dynamic panels in this that I like. And then I was getting involved because they're a building you knew it was gonna, again, not unique, but it was effectively building that something bad is gonna happen. And you
Mhm.
know that's gonna happen. How is that gonna go down? And so I definitely was ready to keep going once
Mm.
we finished episode 3.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah, that like I said, that dungeon that they finally were able to enter looked really amazing. Obviously, shit got real very quickly at
Yep.
the end of the 3rd episode there. So, yeah, it was definitely compelling to be like, "Well, what now? Like, what's gonna
Yep.
happen?" Um, so yeah, I very much agree with you. This seems like a very familiar premise, not badly done. I'm not mad at it, but looking for something maybe a little unique in some near
Yeah.
episodes.
Yep. And the like world building, like we're unsure of how this world is set up or whatever. It was odd to me. Like I felt like the characters were all normal clothes, walking to like a construction site,
Yes,
getting their coffee and stuff, and then we're gonna enter the dungeon. It just was a
right.
weird, like I.
Transition,
So I
yeah.
guess that's unique because normally you'd be in like fantasy-ish garb, or
Right,
you're grabbing your weapons,
right,
or you're going into a mountain cave or something. Again, a large tower to enter the dungeon, whatever.
right,
So
which is
that felt
part of why
different.
yeah, I wasn't quite sure if this was, like, a real world or if this was, like, a game and we were just, like, making a jump and it
Yep.
just wasn't being shown at that particular moment, so, yeah.
Yep. Yep. So yeah. Anyways, that's Solo Leveling.
Mhm.
Very, very popular. So keep going. Big cliffhanger on the end here. So yeah, talk more about that next week. Those are a couple webtoons. For anyone interested, Solo Leveling, I am reading on Pocket Comics.
Mhm.
And I think episode 4, I'll have to use their version of tokens or whatever to get on there. So,
Solo Leveling does also have its own website where you can read the comic in its
okay.
entirety. It's definitely there's ads, so you not like that pop up, but like that pop up on like the corners of your screen that you have to
Right.
click out of. Um, but if you can also find it there if you want.
Okay. I had gotten the first volume of this on my iPad, but
Mm-hmm.
again, this so far seems really well formatted for the vertical scrolling kind of
Yeah.
situation. So I'm
Mhm.
enjoying reading it this way. But
Yep.
yeah.
Same.
All right. Um, More spoilers ahead. This time for Westworld.
Mm-hmm.
Talking Westworld season 4. It's the latest season, and we're covering episodes 5 and 6. After these, there are just 2 left in the season.
Mm.
5 and 6. Westworld. What'd you think?
I thought they were strong episodes. The opening of episode 5 with our man in black sitting down to dinner with these two random people was just creepy and chilling and off-putting, and I loved it. I loved it. It was a great setup to, finally seeing the very, very large, in full, I think, the very large premise of this season, which is that, Halores has built herself the perfect world where humans are under her control. They do everything she wants them to do, and hosts are in charge, and they get to go down and interact with humans in the city if they want to. Um, so yeah, this opening where he just like sits down and he's just like, "Hey, you're not who you think you are. Let me just
Mhm.
like tell you how it is. And also, oh, I got some business to do. Wait for me."
Yeah.
and they literally can't move. Oh, it was just chilling, chilling, and
Yeah.
I loved it.
They can't move, but there's
Can't eat.
something that makes them want to move. Like this
Yep.
just like glitch in the system, glitch in the matrix.
Glitch in the
Um,
matrix, yes.
yeah.
Oh god, you
So
see them there, like, trying to put the veneer on of, like,
yeah.
both just wanting to eat their dinner, and they're like, "It looks so delicious," but they're like, this is okay,
Hmm.
we're fine." Ugh,
Yep.
just enjoyed.
Yeah. These episodes, again, I found myself coming away from both of them thinking, man, this is such a turnaround from last season.
Mhm,
Like I am engaged. I am being provoked in the mind, like I'm thinking of things. It has me is both answering questions and like asking them at a good pace. I'm not upset that I'm spending time with any certain group of characters.
mhm,
um Last season, like anytime we were with Bernard, I was not interested. And everybody has something to do now.
mhm,
They are doing things that are unexpected.
mhm,
The big reveal and twists at the end of the previous episodes is like working out and paying off, and we're seeing fun stuff happen with it. It's been good. I liked a lot that when we got to see Teddy again now, and so
mhm,
Teddy was more involved and talking to Christina
mhm.
and trying to get her to kind of wake up. And it's making sense for her now. Like it's
Yes.
just making sense what she's been going through and happening.
So, I loved those interactions, but it also made me think, so where does Teddy fall in all of this? Like,
Yes.
Teddy has to be a host, right? But like what kind of
Yes.
host? Like is he like the host version of an outlier? Like is he really Haloras's man and he's just like pretending to show like what are his motives? I mean, I on the one hand love it, but I have learned from this show that I can't trust too deeply
Yeah.
sometimes, or you can get bit because, sometimes somebody will reveal a motive and you're like, oh man,
Hmm.
I either wasn't expecting that or I didn't want that. So
Yep.
I love him getting involved in Christina's, kind of wake up call and her recall, as it were, to her past.
Mhm.
We see her
Yeah.
literally starting to write Dolores's story and, try
Yep.
to search Dolores Abernathy and be like, what is this about? So that's been really great. But yeah, definitely some questions there too.
Yeah. He was literally the Morpheus to Christina's Neo.
Hmm.
Um, and
Sticking with that
um,
Matrix theme, huh?
yeah. Yeah. It's so where I think Teddy, what I've like come to now, that makes sense to me is that the original Dolores that went off the rails was there when Teddy was shot. We know she took a number of cores with her off the island, off or out of Westworld. Teddy presumably being one of them. She is, I think she did that via Hale, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, she was in charge of all this for quite a while and responsible for putting a copy of herself in a Hale body, and presumably in Christina and a number of and the Man in Black, or all these different bodies, taking herself, copying, do the version, um, in a different form, so everything would be done right. Well, eventually, she is kind of comes to decides that this is not the right path, which I don't know, at the time, maybe I felt was a little iffy in this change of heart or whatever. But my assumption was that she made Teddy at that point and maybe let him out into the world to come back to another time. memories altered, more basic form or something like that. Just want him to live, be out there, but wasn't going to make him like be part of the plan, wasn't going to have him be a servant or something like that. Well, Dolores dies in her change of heart. It's kind of sacrifices herself and stuff. And Halores is the one that takes over. Well, she potentially has no idea that original Dolores had Teddy's core and had
Mhm.
made a new form of him and then sent
Mhm.
him out in the world. And so this Teddy would eventually sort of like start seeing things, seeing others react around. It's an unknown quantity to Halores, and he kind of wakes up and starts figuring out what's going on. That's
Mhm.
my premise
Yeah.
for
No, I
Teddy.
mean it's a totally solid premise and would, explain a lot of like how he came to, suddenly come back, kind of watch Christina, check it out, maybe see if she's, got any memories at all of what's going on. Decides to reconnect. Again, just like we haven't really delved into Teddy being back other than like, oh my God, he's back and he's helping Christina. So I'm just waiting for a backstory with or without a shoe drop, which is
Yep.
hilarious considering what's on the screen right now.
Yeah. Yep.
So
It
yeah,
was.
I kind of hope it's something like that, but you just never know with Westworld. You never know what the creators
Yep.
are going to do.
Yep. And the roommate on the screen now reminds me
Mhm.
of how we question her so much. Like, what's her deal? Why she's so weird? She's suspicious and the flies and like all. And just this season has done so well for with the payoffs. Like, we understand completely now why her roommate was weird. Makes perfect sense. These people that are placed around her to kind of be these guardrails and sort of
Mm,
you know, and not really in control of themselves and kind of feeling it weird. And like the stuff at work, why is she always sit down at work and like no one else is there? She has
right?
no interactions with other workers.
It's empty. Yeah.
Just boss comes in and says, "We need more stories like this." Um, so it's just like falling into place well, in a satisfying way.
Yeah.
Because it's like the boss is like the thing now that if Halorus can't really control Christina directly,
Mhm.
she doesn't want to do that exactly, then the control can be her boss, giving her sort of this fake setup of a world to perform a very necessary function for society.
Right.
Good setup.
Yeah. Yeah. And it obviously begs the question, like, can Halores control her? Or is this like
Right.
she can't, so we're keeping her here and ignorant so that she won't realize how much control she has.
Yeah.
Um Yeah, that to me, the slow build to all of that and all of like you said, the guardrails placed around Christina, but then also the big reveal of like, oh, I'm going to have lunch with my college roommate. Well, bam, it's Hale Loris. I did
Yeah.
not see that coming. That was
No.
excellent. So, just
Awkward.
her awkward. Yeah, that lunch was awful. It was so
Yeah.
uncomfortable. But it was great because I didn't see it coming. So it
hmm
was great to, see like this even like last ditch kind of guardrail in being Halores herself, kind of, keeping her in line and checking in
Yeah.
with her and seeing what's going on.
hmm
Just yeah, excellent. Excellent.
And I've enjoyed watching people that can act. Um,
Mhm.
like in because sometimes I feel like, oh, people just they're not, I don't know, they're not ready for this or something. And in this, we see Teddy talking to Christina, and they have this moment where Teddy's saying, "Change these two people sitting over there. Change it. Like, what do you want them to do or whatever." And to have that happen, and to see the look on Christina's face, to see her waking up right there and realizing this, and then shortly thereafter employ this in the restaurant to create a diversion.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
that was just it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it was a nice like the episode moved along in her kind of discovering her power limits, her abilities um in very small but believable increments. like you said, kind of Teddy convincing her, to change the narrative for these two folks. Then she creates a diversion in the restaurant. But then, like, her boss comes at her and she's not immediately like, well, I can just change this. She still gets like, oh, I need to like play along and be in the rules. And like, it's just kind of at the last moment where she's like, oh, right. Oh my gosh. Like, I should just, figure out if I can do this too. So it's a real acceleration, but at a natural pace.
Yeah. Do you think she's the only writer then? She the
Sh-
storyteller?
She certainly seems to be. I
Mhm.
mean, judging by the fact that there's literally nobody else in that building except her and her
Yeah.
boss. Um, so yeah, I mean, otherwise there could be more Christinas. Do you know what I mean? In
Mm.
other buildings that are kind of siloed from each other. And that
Yeah.
would be a great reveal. If they're because so I always keep wondering, I always keep coming back to, we were talking about earlier when Hale took those, I think, six control units out of Westworld. Like, who all was it? And I just
Right.
don't think we have everybody accounted for, like, for with certainty. So there could be, like, other people out there, other Doloreses, other Christinas.
Right. Mhm.
So that would certainly be interesting if that was the case,
Yeah. Wonder if someone's tallied that up, kept track of how
right?
many
If we're
we
if we're
kind of
exactly certain,
yeah.
and it's certainly possible that they are all accounted for, and I've, missed something that told us that, but I just can't quite remember if everybody's all in somebody now, if all of those control units are in somebody that we can account.
Yeah. Because a lot of the other ones we've seen have been gotten via other means.
Yep.
Clementine, it went to her
Mhm.
later, and the man in black assaulted her, and they got her.
Yep.
Um, and
Maeve obviously
who?
escaped.
Yep, yep. And then I think there was the same with Bernard too, right?
Yep.
Arnold,
Yep.
like is
Yeah, I don't
so
believe he was one of those, but again, I could be wrong.
so it was like Teddy and and Dolores for
Morris.
sure. So two,
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, what do you think is so we've seen the city and Dolores is writing for the city,
Mhm.
whatever city this is exactly. I don't
Mm.
know for sure, San Diego or something. And
I watched the, like, post-episode little 5-minute explain, and it's Manhattan, but it's
okay.
Manhattan paired with, like, they went to some specific resort in Cabo, and it was, like, all white.
Yes.
Yeah, like, it had those, like, nest-looking things, so that's what they used to build, like, the host city out in the harbor.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
Manhattan with a little bit of a twist, and then also host city, whatever they call that.
Yeah. And then they talk about like a Great Lake being drained. So I suppose
Yeah,
when they're driving to the park, it's in the Great Lakes area there. That makes sense
so
from New York. That's a bit of a trek, but yeah. I'm just wondering, what about the rest of the world?
yeah, yeah. So I mean, Hale talks a lot about, I've made a perfect world,
Yeah,
but we're not given the scope of, is that the city or is that truly the world?
literal. Yeah,
Yeah, is that literal? Um, I would tend to say it's probably the city,
yeah,
because it does, I mean, we would have to have some sort of indication, I would think, by now that these towers are other places. It seems
yes.
improbable to me that this one tower could do all of the sound manipulations, but
But see, because then I'm like, well, okay, so they're going and, you know, commerce is happening, the city is alive. Well, if it's living with the rest of the country, the rest of the world, you're gonna have people coming and going. Are you like just make sure you infect anyone when they come? But then when
yeah,
they leave with the vicinity of the tower, they're not gonna be able to be controlled anymore.
right. Yeah, so it's definitely a puzzle that needs to be answered because we see, obviously in the earlier episodes that the vice president of the United States is affected. Well, he doesn't live in Manhattan.
Mm,
the White House
Yeah.
isn't in Manhattan, so, is he just then, like, replaced by a host? And, like, her goal is to, like, keep replacing people with hosts, and then we just have this, like, tiny little almost like a park. Manhattan is now the
Yeah.
park for hosts to go interact with
Right.
humans. Um, so, yeah. So, unclear the extent of her reach there and the extent with she's transforming the world or this world.
Yeah. I'm glad they're not like because part of what they failed in the last season was trying to have the scope of the
Too big.
city and revolt and all this stuff. They didn't manage to convince me of that. And so I
Mhm.
think they're handling well the scope that they're suggesting here.
Mhm.
Um and but we will still need an answer, and
Yeah.
I hope that can be a an appropriate and believable one.
Mhm.
So
I agree.
Um, transcending.
Mhm.
Halores was talking about transcending. Like she wants her hosts to transcend, and this is a big through line for the two episodes. Why are the hosts interacting with, I forget their term for them, not
Outliers.
deviants, outliers, um, and then killing themselves? And why are they not choosing to transcend? They're instead choosing to live in this world.
Yeah. So so I was sort of getting the impression that transcending was almost like going into the valley.
Yeah,
We
that's what I
had that
thought.
in Westworld. And she talks about, they're so unwilling to part from their bodies. And it was so, again, I love just like the chilling similarities between humans and hosts because of course like we're very attached to our bodies, and a
Yeah,
lot of us have like that kind of existential dread, or people can have that existential dread. They're very attached to living in our own bodies, living in the present world kind of thing. um so yeah, so it was an interesting way to think about, a premise that's been around a long time, or an idea that's been around a long time, that, people get attached to the body that they're in.
yeah,
So, yeah, it was very interesting to me that this was her ultimate goal, because she also talked about, like, I want us to be, bigger. I don't want us to be think small like the humans. I want us, we have the ability to pursue like universal truths and ultimate beauty. And I was like, so what does transcending do for that? Like, do you, I mean, is that a thing you want people to do while they're in their bodies? Or like, are you expecting them to transcend and then just sort of like in their minds, or
right.
whatever program space you have to do that? So that seemed a little bit conflicting to me.
Yeah,
She doesn't quite understand. She has this like vision of perfect things, but hasn't quite gotten there. And she hasn't gotten others to quite buy into her vision, and maybe because it's a little confusing.
right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd like to know what that pitch exactly is.
Right.
It's got to be clear to everybody. Um, but she's frustrated by it, and I don't know, like they addressed some of this stuff, like at least what does your body, your identity, place in society, how does that affect? Because clearly Hale Loris, that's Dolores, but she's changed so radically because she was living Hale's life and in that body with that family, you know?
Right.
And
Well, and
so
she has
like she's
attachment.
connected to her
Right, she has
flesh as
attachment
well.
to her own body. I mean, she chose to keep her scarred arm.
Right.
That's a very like physical bodily reminder of her experiences. If
Yep.
a body is just nothing, then she didn't need to keep that. She could totally have been healed of that.
Yep. Like do we need as life, do we need our flesh? Do we need our bodies? Can we be just ones and zeros in the on the net on a server,
Mhm.
like, and you think, even if you know that you don't have a physical body and you don't live in the physical world,
Mhm.
does that are we ever going to get to that point? Does it ever does it ever is there a point where it doesn't matter? The physical doesn't matter
Well, we
and you
already
could just transcend.
sure. I mean, we already have snippets of that in terms of like escapism. I mean, people don't think about their bodies, I think, when they're so deep into like a novel or a comic, or that you're transported, you feel like, into the story, or like gaming. There's so much you can do online and create your own worlds and build like relationships in that way, such to the point that you feel like your body matters as a physical house for your, whatever quite you believe, like personality, brain, soul, whatever the essence of you is. And your body matters as a vehicle for that. But, I'm sure if there was like a way for people to, certain people might find the idea that you could have all of that without having your physical body, but you could still have those same experiences. I think some people would find that enjoyable and would choose that.
But would that work? That's my
I don't know.
question, like,
I
because
mean, obviously, this is like, making that work would be like the mechanics are well beyond whatever
but
I.
I don't mean like literally. I mean, if
Okay,
for
all
sure that
right.
can happen, if for sure that can be done, because I
Sure.
think it will be at some point.
Sure.
Given the absence of some catastrophe that sets us back, that will happen. But will people can is the body necessary for a fulfilling life, or can we just not? Like, I think it's interesting
Yeah.
because the idea that, like, between and future tech, like, transhumanist kind of view and a religious view actually aren't that different in this way, because a lot of religious people are fearing the kind of transhumanist sort of idea or whatever that this would be and transcending. But, like, I have this quote here from the movie The Fountain, and I've always loved it. Um, our bodies are prisons for our souls, our skin and blood, the iron bars of confinement. But fear not, all flesh decays, death turns all to ash, and thus death frees every soul. The very idea that the mind, the soul, your existence is just imprisoned by your bag of flesh
Hmm.
and will be freed upon its destruction. And the same goes for like a futuristic transhumanist sort of view that, like, our bodies, what does that matter?
Hmm.
It's gonna be our minds or our souls or however you want to look at it.
Hmm.
But do we need to be able to feel grass? Do we need to have, like, does is everything meaningless without it? You know,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like probably the majority of people would say, yes, we need those things. We need to feel the sun on our face, or like you said, feel the grass beneath our feet, feel you know the hug, the kiss of a loved one, those kinds of things. But on the other hand, like, how sophisticated is this program that you're entering into? This is this. I mean, can your mind recognize the same like physical stimulations? Would they in essence feel the same? Like, how deep are we getting into this?
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I would think that a majority of people who are reasonably happy in their day-to-day lives would say, yes, I need my physical body to, I enjoy my physical body. I mean, I, as a person who plays sports, I enjoy my physical body because I can do these things. I mean, I enjoy hugging my child at night. I enjoy, a lot. Sun on my face, the crisp autumn wind, the feel of a snowball. I love all of those things. Um, but can a computer simulate them r- really enough for me? You know, then maybe I don't. It's hard to say because it's hard to know. I mean, and would you know that this is a computer simulation, or would you be, like, born into the matrix to keep the
Exactly.
theme going tonight? I mean, to those people, everything is very real and just the same.
Right. So
So hard to
that's the
say.
trick, because I fully believe we will have it to a point where it will be indistinguishable from the
Reality.
real world. And
Mhm,
so, right, you will feel everything, but in the situation of Westworld, the people go in and know that it's not real, even though they can feel it. So that's creating a tear or a breakdown where it's like it all feels real, but it isn't. I
mhm,
think you probably can't exist that way. But maybe I don't know, because but then if you're going to exist peacefully this way, that means that you're living a lie.
mhm,
You if you don't know it, obviously you can't, but that's the whole point of the whole idea of breaking free from the matrix. It's the point they're doing in this. Like, if you've ever felt like this just isn't right,
mhm.
because then it's not real. Like, and
Right.
I don't know.
But I like the similarities here to the Matrix in the, have you ever felt things aren't real, that, like you're questioning the nature of your reality. But I love that they're doing it to hosts and humans alike. And I think that's
Yeah,
part of what sets this apart, where, Hale is like, why aren't people taking me up on, my hosts,
yeah,
presumably, who have no need of their bodies because they're not human and not tied to their flesh shells, in theory.
yeah,
Why aren't they taking me up on this? Why are they interacting with outliers and then killing themselves? Like, what is happening? I built these hosts to be better than humans, and they keep just being humans in a
yeah,
different format. So
yep,
I really love the similarities that are happening there,
yep.
to two kind of separate sets of beings that are so closely intertwined.
There's another quote I wanted to find. I always think about it, but I never can remember it because I haven't watched Battlestar Galactica in so long.
Oh my
But
god, me neither. That's a
uh,
throwback.
yeah, um, I'll have to find that sometime. But
Sure.
it's because it is about the idea of being so angry that your creator would just
Mhm.
create you in the form of a human. It's like,
Yeah.
why do you limit me this way? And then I see the world through these lenses, and I could be so much more. And
Mhm.
I'm susceptible to all the problems that, or many of the problems that a human faces because of my form. You
Right.
give me these weaknesses, you give me these urges or whatever, and I could be perfect, and you make me not. So it's the same as, like, you're choosing to make people in the form of humanity to reflect your creator.
Mhm.
um I don't
Yeah.
know, mistake, I guess.
Why not just make your perfect hosts that have no
Right,
bodies? Why not just
you're
have
right.
them all just transcend, and then you're but yeah, there's so many twists and pushes and pulls for Halores. I mean, we see in this episode, some of my favorite moments are when she's down in the city and she's like, "Oh, I hate this," but she's, toying with the humans around her, making them play the piano to their fingers bleed and dance the waltz and make her a human chair. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so bored." Like, can you
Yep.
imagine how much worse it would be if she just, like, literally created perfect hosts to transcend immediately, and she was the
Yeah.
only one controlling the humans? She would hate it. And yet, she keeps trying to, like, make them transcend. So it's, I don't know, she almost created a problem for herself in a way to keep herself company, in a way to give her a problem to solve so she's not absolutely completely bored by controlling the
Yep.
humans. But she's so frustrated and angry that everything's not perfect. But if it was perfect, how much more terrible would it be? It's,
Mhm.
yeah, it's
'Cause
compelling.
she wants to be better than the humans, but
Yes.
the humans made them to be like humans. The
Right.
father made the children in the image of the father. And so she's denying the fact that her core part of her motivation is about being human.
Right.
Core part of hosts in general, but like her spurring her on was like her kid being killed. That wasn't even her
Right.
kid.
Revenge.
Right.
Revenge. Yep. A very
That's
human
incredibly
emotion.
human. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to be this thing that just wants to transcend and you want to be better than humans, you need to start over with your own children that
Yep.
are have nothing to do with being human. But
Right.
then what's the point? Because
Right.
then you're not arguably not alive. If
Right.
you have
Well,
no weakness and no emotional grip on anything, what is
right.
the point?
And no choice. I mean, part
Mhm.
of her whole spiel is, the man in black is just like, why don't you just make us do what you want to do? And she's like, because then I'd be like them. I'd be like humans. And she's just really set herself up for this problem of like, I want what I want, and I don't understand why everybody doesn't want what I want. But I can't make them want what I want because then I'd be human, but I want to
Yeah.
make them want what I want.
Yeah.
So she's just set herself up for failure all over the place. And
Yep.
it's fascinating to watch her frustration growing this season.
Mhm. Yeah, because a perfect being one have want, right? Other
Right. Wouldn't
than
have
more
choice.
efficiency.
Right.
Right. So the argument that the show kind of makes is that or it has historically, is there isn't such a thing really as free will. It can all be kind of calculated and come down to ones and zeros, even for humans. Look how basic it is. We can predict exactly what you're going to do.
Mhm.
Um, but is the argument maybe that free will is the bait is free will comes from the coding of the rational mind mixed with the chemical of the of that creates emotion.
Mhm.
And the argument is still that you can still predict what those chemical reactions will be, and then but it's that messiness that's made because a life is is thinking about not only the logical, but then there the stubborn chemical that gets in the way
Right.
potentially of the clearest cut answer that a more
Right.
traditional machine or computer would make.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's been fun to sort of watch Haloris's struggle with these outliers because of course in our first two seasons we were watching the creators of Westworld struggle with Dolores's growing,
Yeah.
sense of choice, of, rebellion, of, I'm not following my code. And, now Haloris is grappling with the opposite of like, Caleb as a human and as a host is resisting her. And she's like,
Yep.
what is going on here? Like what am I missing? I built perfection, and yet somehow, there's something that my code, my building, my process can't account for.
Yeah. Will do you think we'll have an explanation for Caleb and potentially some of the others that aren't susceptible to the control? Do you think we'll have a real
Sure.
explanation for that?
I think we will, because Haloris has been so focused on him and getting that explanation. I think we're going to have to get something sometime, whether it's a satisfying explanation or not. I think that's up in the air, but I think they're going to have to give us, an answer, quote unquote.
hmm Um, some of the things that I'd like answers for would be, like
Hmm.
why can't they track these outliers out in the desert? They seem to be a pretty small group that they could be handled quickly, potentially.
Sorry, do
The
you mean like
idea,
Frankie's group,
yeah,
or do you mean like every outlier in the city?
Frankie's
Like
group and
Pasta.
stuff. Yeah, they're
Frankie's
like
group. Okay.
out
Oh,
there
yeah.
kind of hiding out, and yeah,
Yeah. 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 I don't know. I mean, Caleb obviously is, telling Loris, like, you clearly can't find my little girl. And she's like, well, now I got eyes on her. But yeah, for a long, long time, it was seemingly an impossible task. And I don't know if maybe Loris just wasn't taking it very seriously. And now she finally is.
yeah.
If they were just able to stay on the move enough, grab some outliers who, had the wherewithal to design things like that little tablet that that guy had before unfortunately he was caught, to say like, listen, we're being detected, we got to get out of here.
Mhm.
So probably a combination of luck and Haloris's inattentiveness to this point, and now she's like fully focused in and, big
Yep.
spoiler, infiltrated their group.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good reveal because
Great
we
reveal.
we had a moment where they were chasing after this outlier going and our lead of the group here, like there was a flash or something, and I was like, what happened there? And then he
Mhm.
shows up on the roof, and
Yep.
then I'm like, why didn't he
It's the Man in
like
Black,
really,
yeah.
yeah, why didn't he finish him off, like throw a few rounds
Right,
in his head or something,
right, exactly, I thought the
so
same thing. Didn't wanna hit his
mhm,
control unit, like, hmm,
yeah. Hmm. Yep. So even though I should have expected it, and I didn't. So,
I didn't either.
um, but it made sense when looking back. So,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it up until the point where he started talking about, oh gosh, what was he saying? Oh, yeah, like, he was like, "Oh, why don't you go check the perimeter and I'll deal with everybody here," and I was like, first of all, anybody who suggests splitting up when there's a possible traitor, like, you gotta be a little
yeah.
suspicious, and then, um, yeah, he was so focused on, like, what happened with Maeve's Pearl, like, was going on there, and I was like, "Come on, like, get there, Frankie," like, he is clearly, but I didn't see it up until that point. So, for a while there. And then I didn't see, they did the reveal of how they did the switch. And I was like, ooh, that was good.
Hmm.
That was good. I
Yep.
didn't see that coming either. For a second, I was actually worried that Bernard was, the
Oh man,
betrayer.
no, no.
That would be a deep, deep game.
Yeah.
So I was very worried. So,
Okay.
but no, no, we're okay.
Yeah. I guess in if I had a critique of this episode 6 or something that I'd want
Hmm.
maybe more was I really like Caleb's stuff here,
Hmm.
but it to me seemed like something that if we had if this was a season 1 of Westworld, or this was like we had an extra episode in the season or something where we would take a little more time with, because I feel like though I like the reveals, they came fast. I feel
Mm,
like
sure.
I needed there to be earned the scratching of the arrow and the direction on the floor,
Yeah.
and the finding the thing in the timekeeper and the other hints and stuff. I feel like I wanted to struggle with
Hmm.
Caleb and feel his struggle for an extended period of time. So it really felt like he was contributing to and building up eventually an escape, where
Hmm.
I feel like it came pretty quick. We saw the how that must have happened. That must have been the case. This is we got that feeling that over so many times, so many iterations,
So many
they
reboots.
finally
Yeah.
worked out how to like get out of here.
Yeah.
But I felt like we could have experienced more of that.
Sure, we could have had some more plants, in
Hmm.
earlier scenes. We could have had like a, quick gaze down to the floor and, oh, there's like a scratch
Hmm.
there. I actually thought the time one was perfect, and then the rest of them moved very quickly. Like the time when he
Hmm.
was like tapping on the glass, and it took me a
Yeah.
minute to be like, no, so he literally means go check in there. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, then, just having enough time to like figure out the scratch and pull the grate before the fire got him, and following his like ashy handprints from before. Yeah,
Yep.
I just could have used like a couple more.
Hmm.
One thing I did appreciate about that though was just the surreality it would have to be, to just see like
Yes.
dead versions of yourselves in
Yes.
and they're from previous escape attempts. Just, I mean, I can't imagine.
Demoralizing.
Yeah, can't imagine. He did very well. Um,
Yep.
I know we
Yeah.
both had a lot of complaints about Caleb, not necessarily like Aaron Paul in
Right.
particular, but his character the previous season, and this season has just gotten like really good for him.
Yep. So whereas the last episode gave me Matrix vibes, this one gave me Doctor Who vibes.
Yes.
And I felt nostalgic for Doctor Who
Like
because
good old
it's the
Doctor
kind
Who.
yeah, because it was and it's where I wanted the more drawn out thing where I would like could like
Yeah.
focus and spend more time on this. But the whole season has been timey-wimey in a satisfying way. But this
Yeah.
episode for sure in it just brings me back to the doctor leaving himself notes and things to find to in order
Mhm.
to move forward. And we got that here and I liked it a lot. I'm very much a fan. And it
Mhm.
was another they reminded us of this in the post credit thing or whatever. It's
Mhm.
another version of the sort of torture of hosts when they don't understand the scale of time. They're being manipulated and who and when they are. And so we've seen this kind of thing before, but it
Yeah.
was really good with Caleb and like the perfect bittersweet because you knew if we saw him escape, it was for naught. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
going to last. He was in a body that was designed to decay quickly.
Right.
And so Aaron Paul's performance was really good. It was on the money for when he's given the call to Frankie and then
Mhm.
giving it to Halores. You
Oh,
know, that
oh,
was a
sick
great
burn.
moment. Yeah.
Oh, oh, just
They
and she
just don't
felt
want to
it.
be in your world, you bitch.
Ah,
You know, like didn't say that,
he
but whatever, you
delivered
know.
it. Yeah, he
Yeah.
delivered it and she felt it. Like you could see it on Tessa Thompson's face. So this was
Hmm.
excellent scene acting by the two of them. They just
Yep.
nailed it.
Yep. See, I've heard some criticism of Tessa Thompson's acting ability, and I just don't agree. Yeah, like I think one of the highlights of last season was her and the
I
way that she
agree.
handled like being uncomfortable in her skin, being
Yes.
forced into this new body, and then like
Yes.
having to like come to grips with actually loving for those kids. Those were the highlights of that season.
Mhm.
And though I've liked her less in this, it was the stuff like that that was really good, the really good moments and stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's probably hard for some people to maybe transition from her performance last season to this season, but her character is in such a different place, and she's so much less. She's been like thus far so much less involved. You know what I mean? She did the thing that she wanted to do. She got it all done. She feels like she's won. There's no need for these like raging emotions that she had last season. The trying to be comfortable in her skin, the reluctantly loving her kids, the rage that she feels when her family is destroyed. She's got it all. So there's just much less range to have right now, and we're just now opening that up, as her perfect world begins to unravel. And I think
mhm,
you're finally getting to see that, but it's nothing to do with, to me, Tessa Thompson's performance and not a failure of the writers and her character. I think it all makes sense to me.
yep, yep. And I did like, you'd mentioned earlier, and I did like her line about, how the old gods must have felt, how
Mhm.
they, is this why they spend time down here with
Right.
disguising themselves as a swan to, populate with the peasant humans,
Yeah.
whatever, because what else am I going to do,
Right. It's nothing doing. Just gotta
Yeah.
go, see what's going on down there. Get some
Cause some
strange.
chaos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
um, one small little detail that I wanted to point out in episode 6, you were talking about, feeling like Doctor Who and feeling like clues were left and it was very timey-wimey. I did love the nod in episode 6 where, Bernard is taking Frankie through Temperance and talking about the way that they build the parks, and he's
Mm,
like, way they collected data, and he's like, first it was the hats. I was like, Ah, that's such a good detail. Because they always ask, like, when they're getting dressed, like, "What hat do you wanna choose?" And, that's
Mhm,
such a feature thing, and we always thought, like, "Hey, it's about being, do you wanna choose the white hat or the black hat? Are you the good guy or the bad guy?" But really, it doesn't matter because they were just collecting data on you, and
mhm.
that just, like, I kudos to whoever put that in there. That was a long, slow game to play if they thought of it at the beginning, and it was perfect. It was so good.
What about Samurai World, though? What are the hats in
Um,
Samurai World?
was Samurai World, I mean, weren't they built after? Because wasn't Westworld the original, and then they got, like, the
Oh, so
data
maybe
they
the
needed?
mirrors were implemented at that point,
Ye
you're saying?
Yeah, because he was saying, like,
Maybe.
later on, it was the vanity, it was mirrors.
Yeah,
So I
that could
thought
be.
Westworld was the original, and then, like, we expanded,
Yeah,
didn't need the hats anymore.
that could be.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. But yeah, I loved it. It was just such, like, a great thing to throw in there to just kind of call us back and also talk about, core premises of the show.
Yep, yep.
So,
No, I mean, it's a shame to me at this point. Obviously, we have 2 episodes left of this season, but it's a shame to me at this point that Westworld season 3 was such a detraction
mm,
i because the long-term payoffs of some of these things has been really good.
mhm,
And the planning they did have has been really good.
mhm.
So, like if I was telling someone to watch Westworld, I would tell them like watch Westworld season 1, season 2, what's your recap of season 3, and then
Yeah,
go
watch,
into
like, a
the 4.
detailed recap
Yeah,
for, like, 1 or 2 episodes or something, watch the first
cuz
and the last and a recap to fill in the middle.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah, because you
are
kinda
there
gotta
any other
know, I mean, you gotta know
you
Caleb,
need to know. Yeah.
and you gotta know his and Maeve's interactions and Dolores, like, her fate.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, you don't need to know.
And there's again, there's I remember there was fun themes we talked about for sure in it. So like I'd want,
Mhm.
it'd want to be a good recap that
Right,
covered a lot of bases.
right.
But we just don't need to see the poorly choreographed fight scenes
Mhm.
and I don't know, it was a show with no tact or patience anymore. And I feel like they
Yeah,
really took that to heart on this season. It's not season 1, but it's been very enjoyable.
yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think season 3 just got ahead of itself. There was a cool premise, and then
Mhm,
and the scope ended up being too big. Everything got too large too quickly, and our characters, I think, were kind of snowballing in different directions, and it was very quickly getting out of their control. And so they did what they had to do to get everybody back, but it didn't feel planned. It didn't feel, orchestrated. It felt like rushed and weird, and didn't quite, get our characters' motivations. I mean, certainly Dolores's turn to "I want to save humanity" wasn't, Daenerys in Game of Thrones insane, but it was rather quick. So
mhm,
yes, we got a lot of, like, we need to, kind of pivot to make this storyline happen. And now season 4 is like, okay, let's learn from those mistakes, and let's not let
mhm,
things snowball in that way again.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was almost like they knew the story they needed to tell, and so things just had to happen for that
Mhm.
to get to the point where we're at.
Mhm.
And again, there just wasn't the strategy to get there.
Yeah.
Because we had things that were unbelievable in terms of like people being shot, like inconsistent strength even and
Mhm.
durability of hosts and like
Yeah.
convenient like backup in places and just
Yeah.
all kinds of things. So I'm just happy after, like what the
Mhm,
season so far. I'm just happy that this show feels back on a good track,
mhm,
with talented people behind the camera and in front of it that um yeah, I'm just like, obviously they have a lot of stuff to pay off now. I mean,
mhm,
they've had some good stuff, but do you think this season is going to end kind of a lot in a wrapped up in a lot of ways, or are we going to be cliffhanger? You know,
mhm, mhm. I think we're gonna be cliffhangery.
okay,
It feels that way to me. If they pace it correctly, I kind of hope it's a cliffhanger. I think wrapping a lot of things up in the next 2 episodes would feel very season 3 of them.
yeah, exactly. That's my
I
fear right now. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I think we could have 1 or 2 major somethings, but I don't feel this storyline is being wrapped up in season 4. I feel this is a
Mhm.
continuation into season 5 because, I mean, we just saw Halores and Christina, on our screens together for the first time in a very
Mhm.
quick 10-minute like interaction. So I think there could be confrontation there, but obviously there's going to be some sort of like big confrontation. We haven't seen Bernard and Halores on our screens
Yeah.
together. There's got to be something there. Maeve and Halores, she's got way too many others to interact with to have that wrapped up in 2 episodes.
Yeah. I don't envy the task because I can see how you can fall in this trap easily. It's like you have all these interactions that haven't happened and you need things to change. I don't want to see like a couple people sneak into the tower and disable it and blow it up so that
Right,
people
right,
can't be controlled. And everybody kind of
right.
wakes up, and then Maeve fights Halores. Yeah, I just
Very
there's
again,
got to
very
be
season
something.
3.
Yes, there's got
Very
to be
season 3.
something more cerebral about how this concludes
Yes.
and how this moves forward. And um, I'm very excited for what that is.
Mhm.
um, but they have a big task ahead of them for that because it could easily devolve into spy mission, kung fu fight. We beat
Right.
Halores now.
Right. Well, I mean, one of the things is obviously Bernard. Bernard has reawakened Maeve and saying like she's the weapon. Well, does that mean literal? Does that mean, something a little more subtle this time? Because we've done the big like Dolores Maeve fight. Um, and Bernard's, somehow waking up with all of this knowledge in his head and all these calculations and, you know, um
Yeah.
predictions and things like where is that going?
Yep.
We haven't gotten anything, we've gotten a lot of great stuff along the way, but we haven't gotten any answers out of that.
Mhm.
And it would just be disappointing if it was like you said, just, little slash bang.
Yep.
Oh, we're confronting Dolores or Halores and blowing up the tower and shabam.
Yeah. Because a lot of things you don't want. Like, there's a certain superhero movie that I really wasn't a big fan of a couple years ago that ended by just talking the villain out of what they were doing. I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it.
Okay, you're gonna have
That's
to
not
tell
too
me
much,
after
right?
then. No.
Okay.
I mean, I think I know what you're talking about, but you're gonna have to confirm it after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few things of late that have been like, it's like it doesn't work for that type of thing. But I almost want some sort of like the Matrix sort of thing where we make a deal,
Mhm.
or it's someone logically is able to come to an agreement, a change, how things can move forward. Like we can
Right.
live this way and we can let, I don't
Right.
know, something. Um, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because I mean, we've gotten both extremes. We've gotten humans in control of the hosts in the park at Westworld, and now we're getting hosts in control of the humans in, fictional Manhattan. Um,
Yeah.
so, we've gotten both extremes of, creating the world. What does a middle world look like?
Yeah.
Who can
Right.
strike that bargain? Um, And I at the beginning of the season definitely felt there was going to be something for Maeve and Caleb as host and human partners to maybe kind of forge that. And now, my expectations there were a bit subverted. Um, so, who knows then what that could be? Could it be, Frankie and Maeve, Frankie and Caleb, Frankie and Bernard? Um,
Yep.
she's kind of the only human I can really, you know, focus
Yeah.
on right now. But
Yeah. So my final question, unless of course you have anything else we
yeah,
haven't talked about, i- is are we done with Caleb now, or what is in store for Caleb? Because it was feeling at first like, okay, she's torching them all. I want this done with
right.
Caleb. But then all of a sudden there was a copy left. And I don't know if that's a
279.
freshly
Yeah.
made one or what. And
Yeah.
that is like, um, all right. Like,
Yeah.
is it
No, in my notes, I was like, yikes, there's still more Caleb's or not, or yes. Whoopsie. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. So, yeah. So we're clearly not done with Caleb. Like, Hale, even though she's like burning them all down, she's clearly not done with him. I don't know if she's done trying to get answers from him and is just kind of like getting her own personal form of torture in maybe creating a new host, Caleb, that she's not, allowing the hope and the freedom and any contact of his daughter, but just wants to play some games and get some revenge on him. Um, I don't know, but yeah, he's clearly not done.
Okay. Well, um, anything else that's gone unsaid?
So my question this episode, and I'm hoping we're gonna get a very quick answer. Replacing Maeve's control unit, is that gonna like disrupt all the
Mm,
control that she's been having? Or is that just like switching out a battery and she's still got what
yeah.
she's got in her programming?
Yep.
You know, I was sort of like, ooh, I'm a little nervous. Like Bernard seems fine about it. And I hope she still has all of like the special controls that she has, but
That would be a
yikes,
twist, right?
it would.
If we're this is the team, we're gonna finish the job. We've got the weapon, and oops, not so much.
Right.
I I I don't think they're gonna do that, but I wouldn't be opposed to them doing that
Right.
because if it's
Or a
just a
little something
learned
like that.
yeah, if it's just a learned code, then why can't others do it? Is the
Right.
question. Or
Right.
if it was like kind of a defect or a weird little discrepancy in in something physical with her that allows her to do this.
Hmm.
Because if it's yeah, if it's just code, why couldn't she let others do that? Why couldn't she
Right.
transfer that bit of
Right.
control and
Why
ability
couldn't
to Bernard?
why right. Why couldn't Clementine do it? She clearly cared about her. Maybe it would have helped her escape the man in black.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I
So
don't know. It just brought up a question for me. I was like, "Ooh, this is
it's
interesting."
a good question. I hope they have an answer for because it's been a thing that was sort of like it was one of those moments of season 2 that it's like we want this to happen and it's a little like how is this happen? You know, it was cool seeing
Mhm.
this build, but it was a little taken for granted how it is, you
Yeah.
know, and it's cool that this is something special about Maeve,
Right.
but it would be good to have a better understanding of how this is possible for her.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Good
Okay.
questions. Lots of questions, but
Yes.
enough answers as well. So, um, yeah, that's Westworld season 4, episodes 5 and 6.
Mhm.
It's going to be hard to wait 2 weeks to do the
Oh.
next 2, you know? Cuz
I know.
we have the boys to talk about
Mhm.
next week. So,
Mhm.
um yeah, stick around for that if you're interested. Otherwise, you should follow Killing the Flower. They wrote our theme song. They're on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. Take a look at their stuff. And us, we're streaming here on Twitch. We're available on YouTube. We got clips on YouTube. In the full, if I don't get enough clips or whatever made, feel free to always go to the regular episode. I put chapters in there so you can skip around, skip over things you're not interested in, whatever, that kind of thing. So please do that. Like, share, subscribe. Go to your favorite podcast directory if you just want to listen. That's fine too. We're available on Spotify with audio or video, both things. Sometimes I put a poll in there. You can answer the poll or question of the week or whatever, and leave a review if you use Apple Podcasts to be appreciated. So otherwise, we're on Twitter and Facebook as well. So go there. And otherwise, that's been Popcast on the Rocks. A whole 116 episodes.
Woo.
Still rocking. So thanks for joining us. And Andrea, thank you for joining me.
Of course, as always. Cheers, everybody.
A little bit of